Hello and welcome to the Other 14 FC podcast. I'm Alex, Crystal Palace fan.
And I'm Tom, a West Ham fan.
And this is your podcast for everything not top six. Tired of your team being last in match of the day and not getting the flowers they deserve? Well, that's about to change. Tom, what do we have for listeners this week?
Ballard and Brobbey brought down the roof at the Stadium of Light. Kyle Walker-Peters bested Kyle Walker at the London Stadium. Aston Villa devoured some cherries at Villa Park. Dan Burns gets stung by the bees at the Gtech. And that El Gatwick derby was a ball draw at Selhurst, wasn't it, mate?
Yeah, it was awful. What a dreadful day that was. But yeah, how's your weekend anyway? Get up to anything good? I'm guessing you enjoyed your day out at the London Stadium again for once.
I did, yeah. I mean, I saw Turnstile last Wednesday and clearly picked up some moshing sickness from that because my throat has been in like agony for days, and yeah, I dragged myself to London Stadium on Saturday to see those plucky Irons collect another 3 points.
Plucky Irons, mate, your tune has turned in these last 2 weeks, and I absolutely hate it. But no, I guess you got to see more than I did on Sunday because that was a boring game for a boring day all round. The best bit of it was I got an extra large kebab on the way home and just sat there eating down the platform like an absolute scumbag. That was the highlight of my day that day. Oh, I guess that's the reason.
Is that the review for that match? Because it was 0-0, yeah.
Mate, bang on, might as well do. I could review the kebab if anyone wanted to hear that. I sound like a real fat piece of shit. But cool. Okay, let's take a break and get into it then. Okay, and we're back. So, Tom, where do you want to start this week? And it's not going to be West Ham. It's not going to be West Ham. Like, let's just move on. West Ham won a game, but we're not going to start with them, surely, are we?
I think we're definitely starting with West Ham. I mean, I did consider starting elsewhere, but then I was like, you know how many weeks we started with Palace?
Yeah, that's because it was good games from a good football team, not Bournemouth.
This was a massive 6-pointer.
Yeah, Bournemouth, the bargain basement bullshit we're going to have to go through now when West Ham start winning games.
Hey, West Ham are on the charge. We're going to be right up the table in no time.
I hate it, but yeah, I mean, before getting into the review, it is closing the gap already, isn't it? Which is crazy. So, yeah, we'll probably touch on that a bit more when we talk about like the Leeds game, Forest Leeds game as well. But yeah, go on then. Have your spotlight. Have your 5 minutes of fame.
Yeah, I mean, it was a massive weekend, as you mentioned. That Forest Leeds game we'll come on to. Like, it really closed the gap in what was only a week ago felt like 3 teams that were almost doomed. And obviously, like, 2 of them had made their roll of the dice. Well, Forest have done it twice, but like West Ham had done their roll of the dice, and it had taken a couple of weeks to get going, and it almost felt like it was just not going to happen.
Mate, but it's always like that at the beginning of the season, it's like, yeah, they're done, get rid, like in the bin, they're done, and it just takes 2 wins, and it's like, oh, everything's back to what it is.
But this is the thing. I know I've been saying it more out of hope than anything, that it feels like too early to look at the table. But if you compare the table 2 weeks ago to now, like that, we'll come on to them as well. But like Bournemouth gone from like 2nd to 9th sort of thing. Like it really can change in a matter of a couple of games at this point. Like there's so many teams within so many points of each other that, yeah, I just feel like it's still, the table is definitely not set at all. Teams are going to rise and fall massively over the next few weeks, let alone till the end of the season. But
that's it. I mean, everyone usually says 10 games and you get like an idea of the land. But I was talking to like my brother-in-law about it, and it's basically, he says it's nowadays it's like 15 games and you actually get an idea of how it's going to go. And looking at the table now, it is like 5 more games. It's going to basically sort out who's going to be going for the top, who's going to be going for the bottom. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
But yeah, so West Ham win this massive 6-pointer. Like, I think like this was a must win game for West Ham. For Burnley, they would love to have won it, because obviously the situation would have put a team also struggling down. Like, it would have given them 3 points, or at least like they would have liked to have not like lost this game, I think, for sure. Like, but as it is, West Ham needed to win. Like, a draw wasn't enough for West Ham. A loss would have been abysmal, really. And I think for 35 minutes, Burnley were the better team. Like, they looked a lot more comfortable. They looked a lot more prepared, which was interesting, having come from last week and West Ham looking pretty good for most of 90 minutes and had their game plan. Sort of stuttered in this one to start with. Weren't necessarily as confident as you might have expected based off that win over Newcastle. But the thing about Burnley is, like, I know we mentioned it a couple of weeks ago when they were 2-0 up against Wolves and then kind of sat back. They kind of did the same thing here where they got 1-0 up. They had created a couple of other chances as well, mainly through Fleming, and then they kind of sat back on it as well, and that allowed West Ham to get up the pitch, and like they weren't being because they were pinned in at times with the Josh Cullen was excellent. Leslie Ugochukwu was all over the place in the first half, like really like dominating the midfield, breaking forward, it like into the sort of into the defensive lines and causing a lot of chaos. Like Freddie Potts was running around trying to like putting in loads of last ditch tackles on him to stop attacks, but it allowed West Ham, once Burnley sort of settled in and sat back a little bit, it allowed West Ham to get more comfortable, and they grew on as the game grew on. And one player in particular, Mateus Fernandes, was absolute clear of everyone on this match. Like he just did everything in midfield. Like I think a lot of people probably think of Mateus Fernandes as more of an attacking midfielder, but he had like the most like the second most tackles in the match. Like he was all over the defensive part of the game as well as driving runs to go forward, and had his he was head and shoulders above everyone in this match. And all three goals for West Ham kind of come from very, very similar things. It's like it's all just follow the ball in and pounce in the 6-yard box. Like
it's all scrappy. It's all scrappy goals, really, isn't it? But like what you're saying about Burnley there is pretty much like it's what you'd expect a newly promoted side to do. Go get the lead for a bullet header from Fleming, and then once you got that lead in a game that you just don't want to lose, you're gonna sit back, really, aren't you? Even though you probably shouldn't. And maybe they could have gone for the throw to West Ham at that point, but I think it's going to be natural for the players to get nervous, to be like, okay, we've got what we need. Let's just hold on and hope. And I think they got unpicked by Somerville, seemed very busy once again for you guys throughout the game. I think, like you say, Fernandes, or however you say his name, you want to pronounce his name, I'm going to call him Fernandes. He was like running the show, like keeping it all solid, but then Somerville was kind of the key to unpick like that Burnley back line. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. Somerville had a really, really good game. Bowen, interestingly enough, had one of his worst games for us, which he's absolutely allowed, given how many times he's bailed us out of jail. Like how good he's been for the 6 years that he's been here, and he made his 250th appearance for West Ham in this match. But yeah, Somerville was the real key to unlocking the attack in this one. Obviously, his sort of team up with Freddie Potts from a quick corner sets up the first goal. But he was a nightmare for Burnley defending all day long, and going up against Kyle Walker as well. Like I know you're, I think, of the opinion that Kyle Walker has passed it, and I think he had good and bad moments in this game. Like he's still got some of his recovery pace, so it kind of gets him out of jail at times. But there were a couple of other times where he was shouting at his other defenders when it was kind of his fault and it was like.
Would you say West Ham targeted him? Because it felt like, from the highlights I saw, it felt like every attack or every big moment seemed to be coming down that side Walker was on. And like you say, yes, there were some recovery bits, but there was a lot of like, he doesn't look like he's in the right place there, or he's been so
very possibly. Yeah, very possibly. I mean, when you have Diouf and Somerville and they're both clicking, they're both getting like they're knowing each other better week on week, like what runs to make, like when to go inside, when Diouf's going to go outside, and both of them can deliver a really good ball. Like obviously Somerville's much more of a wants to cut inside and shoot, so Diouf quite often goes on the overlap and I think it does. I think it provided fits for Kyle Walker at times, and he wanted more help from those around him, which wasn't maybe as forthcoming as it could have been. But yeah, I think West Ham slightly deserved to win this one, but I do think it was a draw. Also, probably would have been fair.
Say the Burnley goal at the end, that's got to worry you a bit when you just sorted the keeper situation. So how they very much just dropping it and being like,
yeah, we were fortunate that was legit the last kick of the game. Yeah. Like if that had been a minute or two earlier, it would have been very squeaky bum time. But yeah, Areola, I mean, He's definitely going to be like improvable on, but he is a like he's going to have his moments of numb-headed decisions and stuff. But he is an improve. He's the best we've got at the moment.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
yeah,
a massive win for you, a massive comeback for West Ham again, which coming a bit of a comeback in these last two games. I mean, touching on Burnley, it's not the most damaging defeat ever because of the points that they have now, but as we're saying, it closes the gap, and all that good work they've done kind of goes out the window a bit, doesn't it?
yeah. I think there were obviously going to be ebbs and flows throughout the season, but I think for Burnley this is probably the most worrying time now that the teams below them have picked up a few points. It's not just West Ham either. It's Forest as well. So it's not just one team who might they're scrapping for one position. Forest are in there as well, so they've got another team to worry about. Like obviously, there's a few teams down there struggling to pick up points as well, but I just think for Burnley, I get your point about the newly promoted team got a lead, sit back and defend the lead. I just don't know if that's what I like. Burnley were given time and space due to West Ham's tactics of defend the box and counter, which is going to be the way forward under Nuno, even against a team like Burnley. Like we still gave them the time and space. They should have. I feel like they should have been much more willing to take advantage of that, and they tried in the second half, but I don't know whether it was a case of maybe the quality eventually told that like the players that they were bringing off the bench sort of thing weren't quite as good, or the players that they had were maybe tiring sort of a little bit. Like Quillenshie Hartman was excellent as well. He's not someone I mentioned earlier, but at left back he was just like going up and down, like impacting both ends of the pitch really, really well. But West Ham have players like Thomas Souček that they can bring off, and say what you want about Thomas Souček, that man is clutch, and he has come up with so many big goals for West Ham.
You were not saying this 2 weeks ago. You were saying he was done 2 weeks
Because
ago.
he can't play as a midfielder for 90 minutes. But if Nuno wants to stick him up top for the last half an hour of every game, then I am here for it.
You're shameless, mate. You're absolutely shameless.
I have
Fickle
always
as they
loved
come.
Thomas Souček. You will find no recordings of me saying otherwise.
Good, damn it. Cool. Yeah, anything else you want to touch on the game at all? Because I'm thinking, I know it's not in our running order, but it might be smart for us to go talk about Forest Leeds now as well, just so because there's so many comparisons we've had between the two matches, and then we can
I
kind of
mean,
talk
I could
about
talk about it for longer if you want. Nah, the last note I had on it is just from a West Ham point of view. Like El Hadji Malik Diouf just really needs to work on his defending. It's 2 weeks back to back now where the goal has come up from his side, and it's kind of just like he's so good going forward that it's like he's gonna play. And I much prefer playing a back four than a back five, but he needs to be working on that defending.
He's got the Patrick Van Aanholt about him. In all honesty, like
A
as
bit.
Chelsea is like absolutely shit hot up front, but yeah, lost for positional all the time. Yeah, cool. Oh, you happy to move on to Forest Leeds then, just so we can kind of like group that all together?
Yeah, let's mess up my order. Let's go to Forest Leeds.
Cool. My main note for this is Dyche gonna Dyche, and I think he kind of showed his experience in this game pretty damn well. Would you agree?
Yeah, but I think they dominated as well.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like it wasn't a negative game script from Forest at all. They from minute one they dominated. Leeds goal even came against the run of play.
That's it. Like, I just had worrying times for Leeds. Like, this was a pretty damning result because, like you say, they weren't really in it at any point. There's no point I was like, oh, that was a big chance that should have gone in. They just look like, even though they got the goal in this game, it looks like they're still well, struggling to get goals at all. The XG in this was 0.69 compared to Forest 2.47. I know we hate XG,
Yeah,
but
if I mean, it felt like that. It felt like that all day long. Like Leeds were second best. Like they really struggled to get forward and create anything consistently. Like the goal comes from like a sort of Noah Okafor. Like it's all from his work that like and his scrappy, tenacious like attacking the defenders that they get that chance. But again, it's a very low probability shot. Like there's
Hmm.
probably slightly weak defending from Forest in that situation, but Nemecha's not going to score that many of them from what on the edge of the box. Like he's not going to score that many this season anyway. I'm a bit down on Nemecha as a goal scorer, but it was a good goal. But yeah, he makes that shot 10 times. He's probably scoring one or two of them, and other than that, the only other shot really there was like a half chance
It
that
was Dan James's one where Sells pulls out the
Dan,
save. Yeah,
Dan James's one was the good one, but again, low probability shot from outside the box, decent enough save. Like I think it's one of those TV sort of saves, like you would kind of expect the keeper to make it because it's not like fully like whipped in. And then there was the other one that comes to mind is the like ricochet off Jaden Bogle that could have gone anywhere when he's in the 6 yard box.
yeah, he
But
just
like
flaps it. Yeah, no, that's so true. But then get onto the Forest goal. You rating your parry and goal still, him parrying it to the middle of the middle of the
I
penalty
knew
area.
I knew you were going to bring this up because like he I was watching I was on Sunday I was watching that multi view that Sky are doing now,
Yeah.
and like legit he had just made this excellent double save where like it was like he made like a really like it was like deflected and he made like an acrobatic like save, and then it like someone tried to finish it in and he pounced poured it away, and then 5 minutes later, this one came around, and like 60 seconds, I think it was, after Leeds has gone up, and he just palms it into the like right around the penalty area for Sangare to just like power it home. But also, I will say there were no Leeds defenders near Sangare.
No, it's mad,
Like,
isn't it? Like Sangari's first was, I think, his first ever goal for Forest, and it couldn't have been a much easier one really for him, could it? It was like, there you go, have a fucking blasted goal and get in. But yeah, that big reaction shade from Perry was actually quite good. I did make note of that, but I did want to just grill you about that.
yeah, well, I don't think Carl Darlow is making any of those saves, so my point still stands. But from a Forest point, I mean, talk about bad defending. There was more bad defending for the second one. Like no one picks up Gibbs White, and he's heading like he's just getting a deft little header on it in the 6 yard box. It's excellent work from Forest. Like, and your boy, your boy Amari Hutchinson ran
No,
this, but like came on and turned this one like what he really did was turn Forest possession into goals. Like they were dominating possession all game long. They were like the territory. They were dominating the territory, time of possession, etc. But they weren't like it was still 1-1 when Hutchinson came on, and he was the key because he got the assist for Gibbs White, and then also he won the penalty.
yeah. I mean, I think we all know what I think about the price tag Forest paid for Hutchinson just being way too high, and he hadn't shown anything. I don't think he'd really shown too much in the Ipswich shirt to even fathom how that could be that much. But yeah, he found his level today. I don't want to shun him too much, but maybe like lower league, not lower league, but lower down table sides or championship sides from last season is probably more his level. But he ripped Leeds a new one, really, didn't he? Throughout it, he pretty much does everything for the goal, and Gibbs White's just there to put it in.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it possibly even was even going in without Gibbs White header. It's such a deft little header, but fair play for Gibbs White. I think he scored 3 and 3 at home now
Yeah,
in a row. So like he's back in the goals, and that's what is going to be absolutely key to getting Forest firing. Whilst they've got all these new names, Hutchinson, like they obviously need them to come good. They need Gibbs White to be playing at his absolute best if they're going to either like get out of trouble or if they're going to make a run in the Europa League, etc. So, yeah. Did you have any qualms about the penalty? I thought maybe it was kind of light and like it kind of looks like Hutchinson clips his own heels, but possibly just after there's contact initiated from Harrison.
yeah. What I think is just Hutchinson's kind of sold Harrison completely, and he's
Yeah.
looking for it, but he's done a typical thing where a winger will look for it by like finding the contact, and
Yeah, yeah.
I
He's
think
got
it's
his body
more,
in front of the ball
yeah,
and been like, as soon as he's felt a little bit of contact, but then I do think he clips his own heels
I,
after
I,
and
I've,
like and so that he has to go down.
yeah, I don't really have any qualms with it. I've seen Wilf win that type of penalty 1,000 times. Like, it's one that I'll accept. I don't think it's not the worst or like I wouldn't even call it a dive, really. I think he's just played the defender. Defender's not been smart enough, and he's won the penalty from there. And then Anderson just puts away penalty with a bullet finish. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's Forrest's day all along there, which kind of happy for him a little bit. I feel like this team is kind of perfect for Dyche in a way, and all that Ange bit in the middle was just like, what the hell was going on here for Forest? It's just, yeah.
Yeah, well, looking at the table, they're now 19th still, but with 9 points, and there's West Ham on 10, Burnley on 10, Leeds on 11, Fulham on 11, and then Newcastle on 12. Not saying that Newcastle are in trouble, but like that, there's 3 points between those six teams.
It's interesting now, isn't it? Like, because I think I touched on it a little bit earlier. It's like we're all going like Leeds, Sunderland, Burnley, getting the best start that promoted teams have had in years. I think that was a graphic that with, I think it was 10 points at the 10 game mark, no teams or very few teams have gone down. But it shows West Ham and Forest getting a couple of wins for you and a draw and a win for Forest. It's all back in the mixer, and it means that I think the team two of the teams going down or one of the teams going down this year is going to go with a high points tally for once, rather than it being absolutely dreadful.
It feels like there's like going to be a goals difference like situation at the end of the season or something. At this point in time, like you're looking at six teams who within a couple of points of each other. Any one of them could go down. Like I think Newcastle and Fulham probably do have enough to get out of it, but like they haven't shown that so far this season, so they are rightfully where they are in the league, just as the other teams are. I think West Ham and Forest fans are going to be expecting that Leeds and Burnley's position is going to like maintain throughout the season. That they're going to be in I think both of those are going to be in that shout, and I think it's going to be between those four. I imagine that one of them probably goes on a run and like gets out of it. That just generally seems to happen. Like someone will go, like Wolves did last year, go on a 7-point tear, 7-win tear or something. Not saying that's going to happen, but they'll go on a run over a couple of months that will get them out of it, and then at the end of the season they'll be like, oh, we weren't really in trouble, but for like 7 months of the season it was a real struggle sort of situation. But then I think at the end of the season one of these teams is going to get relegated on goal difference or something.
Why couldn't this happen last year? If this happened last year, United and Spurs would be in the Championship and all would be good with the world. It would be unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, the bottom five all have pretty hard fixtures coming up as well. See, you guys have Bournemouth next, Forest have Liverpool, Burnley have Chelsea, Leeds have Villa, and Fulham have Sunderland, which is kind of looking like a hard game now, which is mental to think, isn't it? But yeah, anything else you want to touch on just with the Forest Leeds game? I think we got everything out there. Like I said, a pretty bad one for Leeds all round, that game.
Yeah, not a lot to take from it from a Leeds point of view. I think they need to dust themselves off after the international break.
Nice, cool. Okay, we'll go back to your running order now, because I know underneath it all you're mega pissed that I did that. So yeah,
I know. I'm gonna try and come back onto the Forest game later in my running order, and it's gonna throw me off whack. Gosh, cool, don't do this to autistic people, Alex. Gosh, fuck's sake. Yes. Well, we don't often hit draws this early in the running order, but like this one, I feel like we absolutely had to hit quite early. Sunderland 2, Arsenal 2.
I feel like we all saw this coming. I feel like the whole country saw this one coming. Did you? What did you?
I predicted a draw. I predicted a 1-1. I predicted a 1-1 draw.
Did I predict a win? I think I might have gone.
Yeah, I think you went Arsenal. 2-1.
Well, did I eventually come around to a draw? I think I was saying boring 1-0 header or something like that, because it's just what I expect with Arsenal now after being put through that awful day at the Emirates. But yeah, I mean, Sunderland came out. They got on Arsenal's faces. They had a game plan, and they really, really disturbed them, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah, it's exactly what we've been seeing from Sunderland over the course of this season so far. Like they, especially at home, just absolutely roused up for the occasion, like ready to like die for the badge. Like they're all like legit. Everyone's putting their body on the line. The amount of like tackles and like blocks and just roughing up Arsenal in this one, like defend deep and snatch their chances when they came. But God, they absolutely deserved a draw from this one.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we're always going to touch on him because he has been, well, there's been a few Sunderland starmen so far, but I think the main one for me has got to be Ballard. He's just an absolute rock at the back. He scores the opening goal, which is like a thunder bastard of a like half volley from inside the area, and then puts in the last minute block basically on the goal line to stop Arsenal winning it. Like, there's not much more praise you can give the guy, is there?
against his boyhood team. Like he came through at Hale End with as an Arsenal academy like young player, and he absolutely put the sword to him in this one. And I think there were a couple of things that like led up to that goal as well. There was the elbow that he had
Get
in on
marked. No
Marino,
way.
not an
No
elbow
way.
from me. Like just a physical defender going for a header. He's got like it's just a natural motion. I don't think there's any malice in his
They
in his
they didn't
arm.
VAR it, did they? I can't
No, I
remember.
don't think so.
There was just so much time spent on that, and I was like, "This is not a thing. Like, let's just move on." It's trying to like,
Yeah, and then in the lead up to that, to his goal, I saw some fans claiming that Zubamendi's foul that led to
no,
that attack wasn't a foul, and I was like, nope, it's absolutely clear, like clear as foul. You get those are given every week, like not, definitely not, definitely a foul for me, and yeah, Ballard just absolutely smashes it in, and then the game probably gets away from Sunderland for a bit, for like a spell, like which is expected when you're coming against the league leaders who have won 8 games on the trot, or was it, without conceding, like 8, 9 games or something. So like you're gonna go through these spells where you just have to suffer. The one thing I would say is you've got Enzo Lefebvre just dallying on the ball early in the second half, which was very Lucas Paqueta. Like I watched Paqueta do this every week in, week out, and I'm like tearing my non-existent hair out, and just like what are you doing? What are you doing? And it was so obvious that he was going to get the ball picked off him, and then 2 seconds later, Saka scored.
mate, this is the type of thing Ebbs used to do as well. Like, we were a team that it's like, we need to be fast in transition. Ebbs would get it like on the halfway line and just chill out with it. Like, no, what are you doing? So yeah, I know that feeling all too well as well. I don't think Sunderland got nervous because like I think a cliche would say they got nervous and it almost feels like they needed to be a goal down to then come back into the game and start coming out of their shells. I think like you say, it's just they were against league leaders who have been doing this type of thing of just like kind of choking teams in games and giving them nothing and making it really dull until they eventually break them. And yeah, I think they did break them, got the 2 goals, but that's when Sunderland were like, "There's no point
Well,
dying
we
on
have
this hill,
to
is there?"
we have to talk about the second one because it is bad defending. Like Noah
Yeah,
Siddiqui gets absolutely sold for a hot dog by the runner, and he doesn't need to go with the runner because I think it's Gertrude. The right back is there, so like the right back can pick up the runner, and all Siddiqui needs to do is stick with Trossard. But he goes with him, and then it just opens up for Trossard to. It's a nice goal, but I think Lebris would have been pointing out Siddiqui with that one that like you needed to stay with the man with the ball, like let the runner go, but there was like the runner had someone anyway. So yeah, but then yeah, as you say, like they got their backs against the wall kind of feeling, didn't they?
it is
They're
that.
like, oh look, we're 2-1 down against the league leaders. Let's fucking go for it now. Like let's this is where we want to live rather than being 1-0 up or like 1-1 sort of sit like didn't really suit them as much. Like they got their feathers up when they were 2-1 down.
Exactly that. I tried to skim over the second goal because I don't want to bring up that bastard Brighton's and that bastard Brian's name on this podcast. I despise him still. Absolutely despise him still.
You
Oh,
bitter man.
I am
But yeah,
still.
like they had chances, Sunderland, when they were pushing and
They
pushing and
were.
pushing for that equaliser late on. Like they were like there was that one that Brobbey just has in the 6 yard box after it got flicked on by I think it was actually Saliba who flicked it on from a long throw. And yeah, then eventually time like the pressure told for Sunderland, and they like Brobbey gets his first Sunderland goal.
What an acrobatic goal, isn't it, as well? I haven't
It's
seen a
a
goal
great
scored like
goal.
that. I haven't seen a goal scored like that in ages, it feels like. Like, I watched it live, luckily, and I was there like, how the hell has he actually done that? It felt like a real throwback goal from, like,
It was
oh
like
05.
it's like just what you want from like a last like minute like rescue a point sort of like just like a goal that will be remembered as well as like the situation sort of thing. Like when they mean a lot more when it's obviously he's rescued a point. It's like late on in the game, the crowd goes absolutely wild after it, but it was a goal deserving of that like that as well. It wasn't just a scrappy like bouncing around in the 6 yard box comes off someone's shin. Like no, like he's flicked his body in the air, like gets his toe on it first, and yeah, Sunderland get the 2-2, but there's still some late drama
I
with
know,
Robin Roofs and Dan Ballard saving the day.
mate, 100%. Like throwing bodies on the line, something we've seen Sunderland do throughout the whole season is be able to defend when it actually matters. And yeah, the already touched on it, the one off the line. Like it's everything they deserve, and they didn't deserve to
It's,
lose this game. I don't think, and I don't think Arsenal deserve to win it. I hope. If I was crazy enough, I might get a Sunderland shirt if this leads to the downfall of Arsenal's title charge. That is how much I don't want Arsenal to win the league this year.
well, you heard it here, Sunderland fans. May what 14th, whenever the last day of the season is, we'll get Alex in a Sunderland shirt for you. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on the scenes that were celebrating that block. Were like, honestly, I think they were bigger than the scenes for the equalizer. Like it was just
Well,
like
100%.
I I love to see that, like a block or a save or sort of like a tackle celebrated like a goal. It's just one of like the perfect things about football. It's like one of those things that you couldn't explain to a non-football fan why that is such a like why that causes such a reaction. I just don't think they would get it. They'd be like, well, he's just blocked it. Like, no, does that count as a score or something? It's like, no, it's just a great fucking block.
It's a primal instinct, isn't it, with all of you? Like, I just know how Sunderland fans feel in that moment to be like,
Mhm.
like you said last week, like they didn't expect to be here in the Premier League this year. Then to go up against the leaders in the Premier League and be able to get a point, be able to not have like the inevitable happen of that last minute goal. That is exactly being in those situations, and that feeling is almost better than getting the goal because you're like, oh my god, we've done it. Like
Yeah.
we've stopped them doing their same bullshit that they've done to everyone else. Do you know what I mean? Like, absolute, it's scenes for Sunderland at the moment. Like, absolutely, must be having a time of their lives up there. And I'm dreading the trip up there, but also looking forward to it as well because it's one of the stadiums I haven't ticked off yet. So yeah, it's gonna be a big day out.
Yeah, nice. All right, let's move on. Who do you want to go next?
Are we going Villa Bournemouth for the 4-0?
I
Should we do
think
that?
so. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I
I
think this
think
was.
let's just
Oh,
touch on Bournemouth to begin with because
okay.
there's a lot to unpack through Villa, a lot of nice things, and I don't want it to feel like we're just wanking off Villa and not touching on Bournemouth at all. We said last week about Villa like losing to City. It's not a damaging defeat. It's nothing that's going to ruin a season, but this one is a bit more like maybe some slight panic in the back of Bournemouth fans' head that maybe it's not going to be the season that they thought it would be? Or am I overthinking it, do you reckon?
Well, this was the other one. I know I was talking about the table earlier in the show, and I like mentioned Bournemouth were second a couple weeks ago, and now they're down to like ninth in the table, I think it was, and that's just such a like shows how quick like how early we are on the season still that things can change so drastically. I still think that I think this was just a game that kind of just got out of hand for them. Like if you look at the XG, it wasn't that big. Like Villa obviously scored on a free kick. There was like Bournemouth had a penalty saved. Marlon's goal at the end is like comes off his heel. Like Onana's is outside the box. Like they Bournemouth were second best in this game, except for maybe 20 minutes in the second half. Like when Bournemouth were 2-0 down, they actually looked pretty good, and they had that chance with the penalty. They didn't like it was a poor penalty from Semenyo, but I mean, they've got West Ham next week. That obviously looks a lot.
100%.
I mean, it looks a lot more like more of a challenge than it did 2 weeks ago, but I still would expect Bournemouth to bounce back in that again at home. And like I think with the disappointment of these two matches, yes, the City one was a free hit. This one, you probably would have expected Bournemouth to at least give a bit better, yeah,
Do you
bit
think
better showing.
do you think the collision with Tyler Adams and Adam Smith at the beginning kind of set
It
them off
threw them off.
threw them
It
off?
threw them
Yeah.
off. Yeah, for sure. Because Alex Jimenez came on for Smith. Adams stayed on, but Alex Jimenez came on and he really struggled after replacing Smith against like Rogers, Buendia, and that. Like he just like the first goal. Well, the second goal, Onana's just comes from Rogers absolutely skinning Alex Jimenez and then just sets it off to Onana, and it's just like Yeah, I've seen it. I saw it. The last I saw of Alex Jimenez was, I think he played 45 minutes against Newcastle and struggled in that game as well. So I can see why Iraola is still picking Adam Smith as probably not the most talented player in the league, but like he's got a bit more consistency, a bit higher
Mhm.
floor at this point in his playing career than Alex Jimenez has shown so far in his Premier League career. So I definitely think that nasty clash of heads between Smith and Adams didn't definitely didn't help. It kind of throws out like what you've been preparing all week, sort of thing. So yeah, I think Bournemouth, maybe they look at that and just go, hey, this was set against us early on with that. Like we tried our best, but this one just got away from us, and then we just get out of their memories and try and get the good times bouncing back.
Yeah, with the miss of the penalty, well, not miss of the penalty, the save of the penalty. I guess Bournemouth can put it down to just not being a day. Okay, let's begin the Villa wankathon because there's a lot of nice things in this game I want to talk about. Free kick from Buendia, like perfect free kick up and over the wall. The Rodgers nutmeg on Jimenez for an absolute strike from Onana. I was just there like cream my pants out. I'm not even a Villa fan. Like I'm there. You like to wind up my Villa mates so much, but even I can't take anything away from that. There was some beautiful shit that happened in this game for them.
Yeah, yeah, they were comfortably the better team. I think the goals probably that they scored were probably a bit more than the XG would have said, but I think they were well deserving of the win. The free kick by Buendia is a beautiful free kick, but am I wrong in thinking that Petrovic should do it better?
You
Like
think
it
he
is,
should do better? It went
it's
up and over the
it's
wall.
nowhere near, yeah, but it's nowhere near the corner.
Yeah,
And
but
Petrovic does it. Petrovic is flat-footed. I think if he's on his toes, he could have at least dived and got a fingertip to it. Like
I
it's nowhere near the corner. I think he. I know it's straight. I know it's close to goal. He does get it up and over really quickly. I just think I need my goalkeeper to try and make a save.
no, I'm not faulting him with that one. Like I faulted Wayne Hennessy all the time when he did the Wayne Hennessy stutter the wrong way, and then it didn't go in the corner of the goal, and like I'd blame him for that. But this one, it had
I
too
mean,
much
at least
up
be
and
on
over the
your
wall.
toe. At least be on your toes and try to make an effort to go after it. Because it's like for me, it just looks bad because it's not like deep, it's not far in the corner at all.
But I think
Like
because where the free kick is, he's expecting him not to be able to get up and over that wall that quickly. Like the wall jumps and he still gets it over him and down again. Like I think it's just technique on that ball to get it to swaz up and down. Like I, I, I don't want to fault the keeper on that one if I'm being honest. But then
fair enough.
yeah, but the nutmeg on Jimenez, I don't want to. I don't want to rip him to pieces too much, but even on Match of Day when I was rewatching it, the Cote goes, "Oh, you can't be doing that on commentary for it." But it literally is that good a nutmeg, and then set up for Onana, who scored many goals like this before. Like I remember scoring him for Everton. I think he's had a couple of them for Villa since joining as well. Just a bit of a rifle into the bomb corner.
Yeah, yeah, nice finish from Onana. Morgan Rogers in this game felt like the main character. There was a sort of yellow orange maybe card tackle earlier where he kind of like stamps a
Stamps on the
little
back of the
bit.
leg, doesn't
Like
he?
yeah, it's just like a little slow, but I don't think it's with malice, so I'm okay with it not being a red card.
I think it's
But
one of those that looks worse when it's slowed down, maybe, and one of
yeah,
those like we probably when we're playing five side probably did that to each other every 5 minutes, and it wasn't like an actual like intent. It was just us being shit at football, placed off in the wrong place.
yeah, and then later on, Morgan Rogers commits that. Well, I say commits, but like has the handball against him for Bournemouth penalty. It's one of those again. I'm not a big fan of them, but like his arm is away from his body, but like it's headed back onto his arm, quite like in quite close contact.
It's one of those that if it's given for you, you're happy, and if it's given against you, you're not really mad, but you're like, oh, that's kind of fucking not right, but
You
it's
can
kind of
kind of
right.
see why. Like it's like
Yeah,
he's jumping, his arms like in the air. It's just like it's not what handball was brought about. Like it's not purposefully
yeah, it's
deliberate
not. Yeah,
handball. It's just hit his arm in the box, and now we deem that that's a goal score. Like a really like the chance to score from a penalty is like 0.79 or something. So like you're essentially almost giving them a free goal. In this game, it didn't happen because it was a poor penalty from Semenyo, but just didn't feel like like it the outcome outweighed the situation in that one for me.
100%. And like as you're saying, Rodgers also committed an atrocity on Jimenez's reputation with that fucking nutmeg. I'll stop going on about now. It's a big save from Martinez as well. Like in my notes, he's a bit of a ratty character, isn't he? But if he was a ratty character in your team, you'd be well happy. Like, and he had a massive save running back from a deflection.
Alex Scott save was even better, and then a good penalty save. So we saw good Martinez this week after his assist for Salah last week, and then there was probably the easiest of the goals was Barkley's little flicked header that was quite nice as well. Like he's just got a little touch on it.
It's not the easiest of them. Like a glancing header, like it's pretty depth if you're meant to do it, but you are just chucking your head at it, really, aren't you? I guess.
Is it easier than Buendia's free kick, Onana from outside the box finding the bottom corner, or
Marlon getting hit?
Hitting Marlon too. Yeah, but that's not the easy one because it's just an accident.
It's the easiest one because he didn't have to do anything. You stood there and got hit. Of course, it's the easiest one. Before we go on to that last one, I didn't even know Ross Barkley was still at Villa. I thought he might have been cleared out this summer or whatnot. So I guess good for him.
Well, actually, fair play. I was reading on The Athletic earlier that he is newly teetotal from this summer, Ross Barkley. I think he's someone who's struggled in his career with alcohol, with pressure. Like, obviously, when he came through at Everton, he was the second coming of Wayne Rooney.
Yeah, young superstar pressure, wasn't it?
Yeah, went to Chelsea, was in and out of there. It felt like he was at Chelsea for ages, but obviously he went on loan at times, and then obviously he was at Luton before he moved to Villa, and I don't necessarily think the Villa move has worked out as well as he would have liked. Like, he seems to be firmly a substitute, and I don't remember him particularly having a run in the team as a starter. It doesn't seem to be even when they've sort of had injuries in that central midfield position, he feels quite far down on the pecking list, but someone that comes on in a lot of games as a substitute, and it's definitely still got quality, even though he's getting on a little bit now, but good to see him get a header in this one.
Yeah, exactly. Then, we touched on the Marlon goal, getting a deflection from Tielemans' shot, just sent it past the keeper, kind of sums up Villa's day. Everything went right for him and everything went wrong for Bournemouth. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And just to end the Villa wankathon there. Villa in great form. They've gone 20, not lost in the last 23 Premier League. No, basically they haven't lost at home since Palace beat them 3-0 when I was there. So yeah, take that, my Villa mates.
Were you going to say that was 23 games? Because that was just 5 home games ago, no?
I don't know where I was going with that. I don't know what my notes were for that, but hey ho, that will do. Cool. Where do you want to move on to now? Brentford, Fulham? Brentford, Newcastle?
Yeah, sorry, just had a brief blow my nose break. Yes, Brentford 3, Newcastle 1.
What a game this was. Dan Burn, disaster class. I think.
Well, another game that Newcastle have gone 1-0 up in and then lost 3-1.
Not having a good time in London. Worst start under Eddie Howe. I feel like I'm sounding very jovial about this. I'm not. I don't know why. I think I'm just very pleased myself about mugging the Villa spit at the end there.
Well, should we talk about the main character of this game? Because yes. For my notes, I've got Boo Earns, because Dan Burns had a stinker in this one. Yeah, playing at left back, which I know he does, and I know he's done that fairly well over his career. I just would not be playing him as a left back. I think he's just much more suited to playing centre back. And yeah, in this one, he was up against it pretty much all day long. Dango Utara just had him seeing fits. He won the battle on so many occasions, and even before the tackles and the penalties the one that he does give away and the one that I think he also should have given away, he was just slow in challenges. He was probably could have picked up a yellow card earlier on in the match. For a couple of them.
Dan Burn, obviously, once again, this is biased because of the Brighton connection. Who is 6'7" and playing at left back? Coward. He should be playing at centre back. There's no left back there. I do not care. Coward Dan Burn. No, that's really mean. He has been putting in for Newcastle completely. But yeah, mate, I think I put him in notes he had he was the luckiest man ever to be on the pitch for as long as he was, and he was
Hmm.
just lucky not to give away two pens. I think the first pen is much more of a pen than one that actually gets given. I think it's one of the
Oh
worst.
no, I think they're both Stonewall though.
I
Like I
think
think they're both Stonewall
they're
penalties.
both Stonewall, but I think the first one is more than the second one, and it is the
Yeah,
most shocking VAR decision of this year so far, which of this season. I
yeah. I
can't.
mean, I have no like no idea how that wasn't given as a penalty. It was so obvious, and it was quite shocking that they went to like they checked it and was like, no, not a penalty.
If I was Brentford,
Like,
if I was Brentford fan, I'd be absolutely like boiling. Like I'd be going mental at it, even after
I
the three
mean,
one win.
you're glad that it's a 3-1 win because if this had been 1-1 and that had result and that decision had actually mattered, then yes, I would have been like my blood would have been boiling for Brentford fans as well. But yeah, they like Newcastle started this game fairly well. They got the goal on the counter attack from Barnes.
Mate, that was
Voltemada, nice little flick.
nice flick, and then sends. I don't know who the two defenders were, but sends them for
It's
hot dogs.
Coyote specifically who gets absolutely sent. I'm pretty sure he's still sliding, and we're recording this 3 days later. Like it just absolutely goes.
Mate, he
And
was
then
sliding his way up the pitch to take the long throw for the equaliser. That's what he was doing.
it's just how he gets around the pitch. Gets around now. It's just like, vroom.
No, it was him building up the momentum for the throw. That's what it was.
Oh,
Oh god.
yeah, and then Brentford come into this one. I mean, they were in this the whole time, but
Mhm.
like they just bounced back completely from that Newcastle goal. They looked really like they looked like the Brentford that we've seen at times this season, where they've looked at their best and they really sort of pressure. Like the pressure was just growing and growing on Newcastle, and then sort of obviously they get a goal from Sharda. They were Thiago gets two in this one. I think Thiago was excellent overall in this game. Like his hold up play and his sort of like spreading, like being a proper target man in this one. Like I know he can do quite a lot, Thiago, but I think in this one he played a lot more of as a hold up man and spraying passes out to Sharda and Utara, and yeah, he was deserving of his two goals in this, and I think he should be knocking on the door of the Brazil squad. I checked before. I'm quite surprised he's not in it, to be honest.
That's mad to be scoring that many goals in the Premier League as well. I mean, do you think Pope was at fault for the first goal? Kind of goes and flaps at the long throw, and it's not great luck. But I mean, those long throws are causing all the problems at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Pope's not having a good time with it at the moment, so
Right. No.
you could very easily make that case that yes, he should do better.
Yeah. I mean, with the Thiago stuff, it's just weird. I didn't see that against Palace at Selhurst, which I was weirdly enough, I was looking forward to like a big centre half, like strong player, and I just didn't see it in that game at all. Which, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe our centre backs did a job on him that day, but he's definitely proven he can do it elsewhere against other teams. What did you make of the? I don't think it was mind games. I think Pope actually got hurt in the fall, but
Yeah,
Ramsdale coming on for the pen, like if it was like, are those mind games going to put him off? But no, he rifles that penalty straight into the net, doesn't he?
yeah. I mean, I didn't really think Ramsdale was going to save that, especially after like to be fair to Thiago, there were 5 minutes between the when the penalty was given and when it was taken. The VAR check and the substitution of the goalkeeper, etc., took an absolute age. And like Thiago, fair play to him for like it was legit over 5 minutes that he was stood there with the ball, like waiting to take the penalty. So yeah, he absolutely slots it home. Ramsdale doesn't even go the right way, I think. And yeah, it was. I mean, my last note about this one, it was no surprise that this game ended 3-1 because this fixture averages 4 goals a game since
Really?
Brentford in the Premier League. So
That's
yeah,
a mad stat. That's
mm,
crazy. I just want to
it's
talk
kind
on
of perfect that it ended 3-1.
It really is. I mean, Rigo Henry had a big clearance off the basically the line at the end of the game to keep it 3-1, so that's good for that stat. I mean, touched a lot on Brentford. What do you think is going wrong with Newcastle at the moment? And they must hate London because they've had some pretty dire visits in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's the distraction of the Champions League back this season because they beat Athletic Club 2-0 in midweek before like sandwich between these two 3-1 defeats in London. I don't get it because they have what I don't think is I don't think Eddie Howe has an excuse this year
He doesn't, does he? That's the
that
thing.
like he may have had in previous years with like defensive injuries or not having the squad's like depth that we've previously mentioned. They've got players available this year. They've got rotation options in midfield and attack, and I just don't think that he's getting the best out of them.
No, he's not. Might be a Champions League. If I did more research, I'd figure out what the results had been after Champions League games and probably bring that to the table. But I am a bit amateur in that sense.
Well, yeah, draw after the Barcelona game. They beat Saint Gilloise and then beat Forest. I don't think, yeah, beat Benfica and then beat Fulham. Like, I don't think it's a particular pattern that's following that. I think it. I mean, it looks a lot worse recently with obviously the two defeats to West Ham and Brentford, sandwiched by that Champions League win against Athletic Club. But again, we said it last week. The away form, has just not been good enough this season. That's at least three losses. They like against Brighton, West Ham, Brentford, teams that Newcastle should be beaten if they want to be achieving what they're paying for, what they're setting out to achieve. We'll see. We'll see if Eddie Howe can turn this around, because if not, I think this is his last season in charge.
Yeah, I think it might be no matter what. I think they might go for that big name in the summer, or if not sooner, if it still looks like this, because they are a bit too close to the bottom end of the table. But yeah, cool. Okay, should we move on to the last win for the other 14 teams? Everton 2, Fulham 0. This, yeah, not good result at all for Fulham.
No, I really struggled to find anything to talk about for Fulham. Like, I think the only thing I could really was a negative, that I thought Sasa Lukic was lucky to avoid a very cheap red card, and it was no surprise to see him subbed at halftime. Like, just kept making loads of little fouls, and it was just like, you're already on a yellow. He easily could have picked up another silly yellow card before halftime, and yeah, Marco Silva was just like absolutely hooked him. And seen some talk now that Marco Silva's contract is up at the end of the season. Fulham were desperate to renew that contract, and there's been loads of talk about some of the other teams who have been looking for managers over the last few weeks and months, possibly paying Fulham to get Marco Silva's services. Now it's kind of like reports are coming out that relationship between Fulham and Marco Silva might be souring a little bit. Like, we'll see. That's very early days talk. Like, they can still turn it around and everything, but they are firmly in that mix now, because in this one they just didn't turn up. Everton completely bossed it.
Like, Hill Dickinson is just a fortress for them, really, isn't it? I know that their one loss at Spurs, but they're putting teams to the sword there, really. And with this, had three disallowed goals?
Offside goals. Three disallowed goals was insane. It was just like, honestly, watching it, I was like, wait, is this the one that counts? Nope. All right, is this the one that counts? No. I was like, how do you have 3 offside goals in the same game and then still win 2-0?
Like 3 disallowed goals sounds like something that happens in a game that you either lose like 1-0 or draw with a last-minute equaliser against the team. It's just it's meant to be a bad day when that happens to you. But Everton got everything they deserve. They looked more powerful than Fulham. They looked like they had more of a plan than Fulham. They just had it all, really. And they had Fulham scrambling for the first goal, really, with Gay absolute. It's a bit similar to the Ballard one, isn't it? Where he just thumps it in from inside just outside the 16-yard box. 16, yeah.
Yeah, he kind of just it kind of just pounces on the chaos in the box, and it's just wide open, and just absolutely just he gets on it, because it felt like at that point that with I think the Barry one was offside, that there was already been 1 goal disallowed by that point. It was like, all right, if we keep messing up, then this might be one of those frustrating games that we're like so clearly the dominant team, but for some reason don't have our shooting boots on, and even it only finishing 2-0, it kind of felt like that, and with all the offside goals. But yeah, Gay gets, once Gay gets them ahead, and it's actually given this one, they don't take that they didn't find an offside anywhere. then it just felt comfortable. And I'm not quite sure how Leno didn't save Keane's shoulder goal. Like, I think that's bad goalkeeping. Like, it is fast. It is like you need a reaction save there, but it's quite close to Leno. I think he could do better there. And the only other player I want to talk about is Tierney Barry. Like, I know we sort of said last week that Everton might have a striker issue. David Moyes doesn't know which of them to play. I do think Barry, what I've seen from Barry so far this season, the fact that he's getting chances, gets an offside goal in this one, as did everyone it seems. Like, I think he's the person to stick with over Beto for the time being. See for another few games if the goals don't if he doesn't start chipping in with a couple of goals, or the performances drop off, or if he's getting frustrated or whatever, then fine, make a switch back to Beto. But I've been seeing positive things from Barry.
Yeah, I don't think they necessarily have a crisis. I just think them rotating them to a strikers works for them. I don't. Maybe it's
I
not.
don't think it does work
Do you
for
not?
them. But I don't think it's worked for them. I think they're desperately trying to find one to play. I don't think Moyes wants to rotate ever. Moyes would play Antonio until he ran his legs off, until his legs were bloody stumps. Moyes would be like, yeah, you're playing Thursday, Sunday. You're going to Zagreb. You're going to Burnley. You're playing every week, 2 matches a week. I think he would love that situation because he's desperate for one of these to state their claim. So far, neither of them have done so, but I do think I've seen more positives out of Barry, at least in sort of stretching the field, sort of he's got a bit more pace about him. Beto has qualities as well. I think it's great to have both of them in your squad, but I do think you need at least one of them to be starting to get in on the goals.
I don't know. This is just because of what happened last season when Beto was brought on against us in the second half and tore the game up because he had so much more energy. So when you got two players that are kind of at the same level, I think, in all honesty, kind of doing the same thing, you're just bringing a fitter, a more rested version of them on into the second half to then be a battering ram up the top, try and be a target man. Yes, the goals aren't really there for either of them at the moment, but I think that weirdly works, but that's probably just because I've seen it work against Palace with my own eyes, and I'm not really going in too in depth with what the actual turnout. But the main thing is that Barry definitely has the Everton fans on side. Got a massive reception coming off the pitch. In the 60th, 70th minute. So I don't think Everton fans are annoyed at that situation. They just want a bit more. Just hoping a bit more comes in time for it. It's that they are showing the effort, the players at least. So yeah, it puts Everton in a good position. A draw and a win, I think up to, is it 14th, 13th in the table now? So yeah, I don't think much to be worrying about as an Everton fan at the moment.
No, definitely not.
Cool. Okay, let's move on then to the big loss for the other 14 side. I mean, you probably guess which side it's going to be at this point with the loss, but Chelsea 3, Wolves 0, and yeah, I was watching this from the smoking area through a pub window, and it looked like it could have been a bloodbath, really, didn't it?
Yeah, my literal only note for the match was this could have been a cricket score. It honestly felt like attack versus defense. I actually didn't even I don't think we need to really talk about that. I think the only we've had confirmation this afternoon that Rob Edwards is taking charge of Wolves. They've paid the compensation to Middlesbrough. I think it was about 2 mil, and Rob Edwards, he was a former Wolves player for about 4 years. He was an academy coach. He even took caretaker charge of a game of the first team. This very, very much feels like one with the championship in mind for me. And they've had eyes on Rob Edwards for a time. I think this has to be a appointment, regardless of what happens for the rest of the season. Even if they pick up 0 points, they have to I think they have to go in. They have to give him a chance next season.
Yeah.
I don't think if they don't get 10 points for the rest of the season, that they should sack him. I think they've made this move with the championship in mind. He is someone who has got promotion with Luton out of the championship. He has another promotion, I believe, with Forest Green Rovers earlier in his career, lower down in the leagues. You make this move with the championship in mind, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with you 100% on that. He's got a lot of criticism from the media, and even at work, I was having to explain to like my boss and actually one of my other mates, like why he's gone there. They're like, why'd you leave Middlesbrough, who are like got a chance of going up for a Wolves team that's definitely going to go down? But it's just like the money he's probably going to get from going to an established Premier League side is going to be like probably, I don't know what the exact contract is, but if it's like a 3-year contract on big money, then he's at the Middlesbrough, you're going to take that all day as a manager because you don't know if that move's going to come again. He obviously went up with Luton, but he probably wasn't on the biggest salary then either. And a coach kind of has to look out for himself. So if he stays at Middlesbrough and they don't go up, and then he gets sacked from there, he's missed a massive payday for himself. So I don't really have any squabbles with him leaving Middlesbrough. I know Middlesbrough fans probably aren't too happy about it, and I shouldn't be.
No, I think Middlesbrough fans are in the right to be pissed off about the situation. Like they should feel snaked by this guy. Like as I agree with you, it's fully understandable. Like I expect the manager to make that decision. Like they've got their families, etc., to think about. Yes, they're going to be getting a lot more money when they move to the Championship. When they move to the Premier League. He is a former player and academy coach, so he does have ties to Wolves, which I don't think he does to Middlesbrough. So like there is that element as well. But then I also do feel that Middlesbrough fans have a right to feel aggrieved about the situation. Like they are in a good place in the Championship. Like he was stepped down before the weekend and they won, and I think they finished the weekend in second or something. So like they should feel pissed off, but I also agree that like this is just part and parcel of the game now. Like you're just gonna see this, so it's one of those. You can be annoyed. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, I'd be annoyed if it happened to me when we were in the Championship, 100%. But I can understand the reasoning. I can probably sit back and understand it, but it would feel snaky as hell, like you say. Yeah, there's not really, like you say, anything to touch on. I guess we can say Pedro Neto getting the third goal probably was the worst thing that could have happened from a Wolves perspective for him. But yeah, maybe they did well to keep it to 1-0
I think they were
65th minute. I
think Wolves fans are so disassociated right now that they don't even care that Neto scored. It could have been anyone on the pitch. I think the only thing I would say about Rob Edwards is he does play a back five, so that probably like it lends itself to the playing squad that they have currently. So like from an actual sort of football tactics point of view, it's not like they've brought in someone who's not going to fit with some of the players that they've got. Like he should be able to. Like they've got wing backs, they've got 3 centre backs, or like they have the setup already there. Maybe fresh impetus, fresh ideas might get something going. You know, he does have experience at this level. Luton were pretty good for times. Like they gave a good fist of staying up. So, you know, crazier things have happened, but I do think this is one with Championship in mind. And on that, should we go to a match that feels like firmly Championship football? Palace 0, Brighton 0.
That's a bit harsh, but yeah. Yeah, put it in the bin.
I mean,
0-0. Let's not talk about it. Let's move on to the break and then on to Peak Barclays.
I just want to say that dive from Rutter was absolutely abysmal, and his reaction after it, like his fake, like, oh no, what? I'm being booked for a simulation. Get in the bin, Rutter.
Right. See, at least you brought it up, not me. It's not like I'm not biased at all. I've not brought up any Brighton hate in this podcast whatsoever this week.
No.
Really good. Cool. Okay, let's get a break and get into Peak Barclays. Okay, and we're back. So, Tom, who do you have for us for Peak Barclays this week?
I've got a doozy for you. Ronaldinho's mentor at Paris Saint-Germain. Sam Allardyce's super eagle at the Reebok. So good they named him twice. It's JJ Okocha.
Absolute legend, mate. When you said you're going to bring him up earlier this week, I just brought me back to my FIFA Street days and playing with Nigeria and having him doing absolute bits for the team. Have you watched stats do you have for us for the Premier League for him?
So he obviously came to the Premier League quite late in his career. He got 124 appearances for Bolton, 14 goals and 11 assists, which aren't heady numbers, but you know his impact wasn't just in the stat sheet. I think he really sums up an era of football that wasn't about the stats. Like it wasn't about your goals and assists. That sort of came later in the Messi Ronaldo era of football. That is like, oh my god, how much is your output? This was like, this is a proper vibesman. Like he arrived at Bolton in 2002 after a decade of dazzling with the likes of Eintracht Frankfurt, Fenerbahce, PSG, and obviously Nigeria on the world stage. And he was just like an iconic coup for Sam Allardyce's Bolton in a world of where they had so many others like Yuri Djorkaeff, Ivan Campo, Freddie Bobic, Stig Tofting. Like they were just pulling in all these random foreign powerhouses who have like graced the continental game, and then mixing them in with players like Kevin Nolan, Kevin Davies, and like
Hey,
and
do you
that.
know
And it
how
was
they
just
did this all as well? It's because of the World Cup that was coming up at the time. And they were like, they needed players to be playing in the World Cup to get into the nations teams. And Sam Allardyce kind of just took advantage of that. If anyone listened to this hasn't listened to any of the Sam Allardyce podcasts he's done, I'd highly recommend it because the insights into that team he built there are absolutely great. Like,
yeah, 100%. Like this one, it's JJ Okocha in that Bolton Wanderers shirt, Reebok
it
on
doesn't
the
get more
shirt. It's
Peak
just like
Barclays. It just doesn't. Like, that absolute bold shirt, the baggy bold. Every time I feel like it's Peak Barclays, it comes with a baggy football shirt involved in it. But
100%, and making a fool out of someone as well, like either his opponents or teammates in training, and then that clip of him dancing with Big Sam after they survived that I think it was the first season he was there, but as a player, JJ Okocha just had a smile on his face the whole time and an absolute bag of tricks. He had some deadly free kicks in there, a couple of belting volleys as well, but also a really good eye for a pass and just absolute Pete Barclays typified exactly what we built this on, and I feel like he's gonna go at the top or
yeah, I
maybe
would have him number one for me. Like, if there was, well, I mean, he kind of sums up the decade of football where I first got into it. That my first season watching Palace, well, was the season before we got promoted, but the first season I really remember because of the excitement of it all was 04-05, where we're in the Premier League, and he sums up that era, I think, better than anyone at all. Like, everything to do with it, the total 90 ball coming out at that time, being in the Premier League, like, everything about it. So he is definitely going to be number one for me. It just is going to need you to disagree with it, I think.
I just don't think I can. I don't think I can. In good faith, I don't think I can. I'm gonna slot him in at number one. So
Bang.
good they named him twice.
Okay, I keep saying this, but I'm actually going to make the graphic and we'll put it out on socials because we have a new king on our Peak Barclays leaderboard. Nice, cool. Okay. Got any interesting facts actually before we move on? Didn't think about that one. No
I
wise.
didn't. I didn't actually.
We haven't
I'm
had
sure
enough to
there is.
talk
I'm sure
about.
there is. But
Cool. Okay,
yeah, what a player.
let's move on to the predictions then for after the international break. I think we're going to take a little break at that point because it's about to get very heavy with pod content over the Christmas period, and I also don't know how we're going to do it when I'm going away for my first European trips for Palace as well. So it's going to be an
Well, you're
interesting
gonna
couple
have
of
to
weeks.
find a time.
Cool. Okay, so Burnley, Chelsea, Saturday, 12:30 kickoff. Turf Moor could be a hard one. I'm predicting a draw here for some reason. Maybe a 1-1.
I think I'm gonna go boring 0-0.
No. I think
Saturday 12:30 kickoff is sometimes a weird time.
and Scott Parker getting one back over Chelsea as well. I could see that big time. Cool. Bournemouth, West Ham, the first of the Saturday, 3 o'clock. How you feeling? Going to the Vitality?
A lot more confident than I would have if you asked me that question a couple of weeks ago. I'm gonna go Desmond 2-2.
I've had that in my head as well. I wanted to go for a Bournemouth win, but I just think you're on that new resurgence now, and I think you're going to string a couple of points all together here and there.
Get
Cool.
get scrappy point on the road.
Exactly. What was it? Brighton, Brentford. That is a
Hard
hard.
one.
That's a really hard one. I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go 3-3. I don't know why. I just have a feeling there's gonna be goals in it.
I definitely agree there'll be goals. I think I'm gonna go 3-2 to Brighton.
3-2. Fair. Fulham, Sunderland. Sunderland going to the Cottage. I'm gonna predict a 2-0 Fulham win for this one.
Oh, interesting. I'm actually gonna go 2-0 Sunderland. I'm
Really?
gonna flip it.
Yeah, I just got a feeling that this could be the one where Kevin and everything kind of clicks for Fulham, and Sunderland might be
Ah,
a bit too.
I
Might
have the opposite feeling. I feel
really.
like Sunderland are gonna go into this chests out and just
That's
bully, and they might bully Fulham a little.
That's why I think they're going to be overconfident for the game, and that's going to cause some
Mm,
issues where maybe they're not as on their game as they need to be. Interesting that one. Nice, cool. Liverpool, Forest. Oh, I don't know. I wanna. I don't know.
I think Liverpool are gonna have too much in this one, but it'll be close. I think they'll win 2-1.
I think it's going to be 1-0 to Liverpool. I want to believe Forest can do something there, but no. Wolves Palace. I'm going back to Wolverhampton, even though every year I say I'm not going to go for the away day. Mainly down that we only get given one horrid pub, and it's just dreadful to be in that pub. Like, I don't mind Wolverhampton too much, and I love the ground and everything around it, but the pub we get given is just dreadful. Rob Edwards bounce, probably get the team going. I can only see us drawing this, and I think we're going to draw at 1-1.
Do you have a Thursday night this week? No, obviously not. It's the international break. I think you'll be fine. Palace, you'll win that one. 2-0. You'll upset Rob Edwards' first Wolves game.
I can only hope. Cool. And then Saturday 5:30, Newcastle City. Oh, I think City are just in a rich reign of form now, and it's a hard one. I'm going to go 2-1 City.
Newcastle back at home. They need to bounce back. I'm going to go 2-2.
Leeds Villa, Sunday 2:00. I think this could be a bit of a bloodbath for Leeds. I think they really need to sort it out.
Quickly, or Villa are on a run at the moment. I think Villa are going to win this one 3-1.
Yeah, I'm going to go 3-0 Villa with this one, I think. Then United Everton Monday night at Old Trafford. I think it's going to be a 2-2. I think Everton will give them a good game, but I'm hoping United are off that little good run they had, even though they did pick up a good result at Spurs, I guess.
Yeah, I think I agree that this will be a draw, but I think I'll go 1-1.
Nice, cool. Okay then, that's all of them. So yeah, feel free to rate and review the podcast and tell your friends. Follow us on socials at Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky and Reddit at Other14FC Podcast, or email in at other14fcpodcast@gmail.com. If you see our stickers anywhere at any of the grounds you go to, let us know. Send us a picture on socials because we're trying to get them out there now. But yeah, otherwise, mate, I'll see you after a refreshing international break.
Yeah, see you in a bit.
Bye.